Moment. I
Thank
believe
you,
we
Andy.
have
Thanks for the
one
question.
more guest.
Yeah, we've got Mr. Asif Dakri. Is he in there? Is he live?
I'm here. Good afternoon, guys.
There he is.
Well,
And man, you got an awesome
you.
microphone.
Yeah.
It's a great
Yeah.
mic. No, it's really good. Good audio is good audio. And the moment you got on, it was a really crisp mic. So Asif, thank you for joining us. Asif Dakri, I'll give a quick little background. He is the CEO of Wallace Bank and a figurehead in the business owner community in Houston. I think Wallace Bank is like the leading SBA lender in Texas, or at least I know you have been at some point. And
Houston and San Antonio.
There you go. And he has a pulse on business owner lending, and just the bank does an incredible job in that space with business owners and understands the complexity of business owners. And Asif is one of those minds that one of the smartest people I know, and gets it. He gets it from many different angles, and just a great friend, and was an early collaborator on the book, who, it kind of a year ago was giving me input on the manuscript, particularly on the structure and the thinking approach. So Asif, welcome, and thank you for joining us on this live stream.
Well, thanks, Ali. I appreciate it. And let me start by saying just congratulations on the book launch, and congratulations on a fantastic career overall. So
thank you, Asif. Thank you so much. We go back 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, about that. Yeah. I'm not that old, but I think when I was 10, right?
I remember starting in the business, 17 years ago, and going to lunch with you over at back before it doesn't even exist anymore. I think it was called La Strada or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
And that was, back in the pre-08 days, like 2004, 5, something like that. So we go back a long time. And Asif, you made some really profound comments about the book, and I'm going to pull out your quote, and I'll kind of start there. But you said that this book is an eye-opener for successful entrepreneurs to see the forest from the trees. Ali gives you the outside perspective to help you get a clear picture about what you really want. Mm-hmm. And in your notes, you mentioned a lot of things around making you more intentional. That not just thinking about things, but really being intentional. Could you expand upon what you gained from the book and the impact it had on you?
Sure. Let me just start with that comment about the forest for the trees. It seems kind of counterintuitive that entrepreneurs, we seem to think we have the view of everything in front of us. We know what's going on. We have a view that goes well beyond today, tomorrow, the next 12 months. We can see the future, and that's what we believe. But I think when you start looking at it, it's kind of like looking through a telescope. You can sit there, you can see in the distance, you see everything completely clear, but you don't see what's on your peripheral sitting right in front of you. And I think that's what this book kind of brings to your mind, that, hey, yeah, you see your business, you see where you're going, but do you see what's around you, what's sitting right in front of you in terms of your money, in terms of your freedom, in terms of your time? It's those type of things that I think really come out in the book, that we all know that, you want money, you want control, you want freedom of time, freedom of what you do. And most entrepreneurs are really good at controlling their business, finding out, how to make money. But then it's the side things that you forget about. Can I go on vacation? Do I have my friends around me? Am I have quality of time with my family? These type of things, I think, is what you miss out a lot of times when you're so focused on what you're doing. And I think this book does a great job of saying, hey, think about everything else around you, not just what's in front of you.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. What was the most impactful thing that you thought about? Or where were the blinders on potentially for you, or where you've seen it in your circles?
Really, for me, I think it was, you start with the business and it does grow, and it's just moving along. And as you're growing with it, you sort of lose sight that you're accumulating things, and you're accumulating assets. You've got other stuff going on. And until someone stops you and says, hey, think about what you've just done and take a look at it, you kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. What do I have on this? I've got a piece of real estate. I've got money. I've got whatever. And then you realize you're getting older too. And you think, I need to start doing something. I need to start planning and making sure that I have everything that I want. So when I do end up retiring, if I ever do, which, entrepreneurs never do, But when I get to that point where I want to try something different, I have the ability to do it and to make that move. Sorry, my light just turned off.
You're good. You're good.
No, yeah. You look great.
I think that's spot on. And the complexity factor, there's so many business owners that for them, their situation isn't complicated. They're like, what do you mean? Yeah, I've got these 8 private equity deals. I know the owner of each one. I've got this real estate. I've got these investments. I have these collectibles, and they have a lot of things going on. But to them, it's not that complicated because they built it brick by brick. It's almost as though most entrepreneurs I meet, even if their balance sheet has 30 items, I can sit down with them and start talking, and they'll list off one by one every single thing they own, what it's worth. But anybody else in their family, no one else can do that. And how do you effectively plan for succession? Because to you, it's not complicated. You know it all. But to your spouse, do they? To your children, do they? And it can become extraordinarily complex for succession. Right. And you start to have to, one question I'll often bring up with owners that have, either they're in the next phase, like they've sold their company and they're now creating new deals, or they built everything brick by brick, but no one else understands it but them. It's what do you want for you versus what do you want for your family? Because a lot of times you've built so much that what you're growing now, you're never going to benefit from it financially. It's all excess and it's going to be for your children. So why not plan for that accordingly versus thinking about it like it's just yours? Because that's going to create unintended consequences where you might not position it appropriately, or you might create too much complexity that there can't be succession.
That's true. That's true. And I think that's a common problem that a lot of successful entrepreneurs have. They build this massive amount of wealth, and it's not necessarily all sitting in cash. And frankly, it never is sitting in cash. It's sitting in assets. And so, when when your time comes and you have to leave it to your kids, what do your kids do? How do they manage? How do they go through the estate planning process? How do they know if they have to pay taxes on their estates? I mean, the holistic approach to everything, I think, is what's missing with most people's plans today. And, you look at school and you go to school and they say, we want to make you a well-rounded student. So you learn everything, you know about math and history and English and science. But when it comes to our finances, we don't really do that at all. We don't have that thought process in our mind. And I think when you look at this book, it's kind of taking that process and putting it all together, saying, yeah, here's your money, here's your investments, here's your family, here's your life. What do you want it to look like? What's your full picture?
Yeah. You mentioned what you want it to look like, and you read in there about return on life experience. When you read about return on life experience, what did that mean to you?
Well, to me, it's what are we working for, right? I mean, so when I look at personally, I say, why am I putting all my efforts, all my time into this? What do I want to get out of this? Is it strictly just the money? Is it achievement? What is it that I'm looking for? And I want to get a quality of life, right? I don't really look for the money. I look for the achievement, trying to grow something, try to build something. Doesn't matter what it is. But then I also want to be able to, have those trips, those vacations, go with my kids to wherever they want to go, have that family life also that I can afford because of what I'm doing from the business standpoint.
I love that. That's what it's all about. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in building that we forget that. Yeah. And it reminds me of a story. A friend of mine, he had the benefit of joining a party at Oprah Winfrey's house, and he's an author and great guy. And he said, I'm at Oprah's house, and Jeff Bezos is there. And I'm going to tell a story. And he goes, Jeff's sitting in the corner with his arms folded, and just all in his head, completely not being social. And he said, I realized in that moment that I have something that Jeff Bezos doesn't have. So what's that? He said, enough.
Ooh.
I have enough. And I don't think he does. And it was one of those moments where I've talked about it a million times after that. And I don't know, and I can't judge Jeff Bezos. I don't know him.
Yeah.
This is just a story. And for all I know, he may have just the best mindset in the world. I don't know. So I want to be respectful of that. But I do meet people that are so focused on wealth creation or wealth building that they lose sight of what really matters. And there's no amount of money that ever fills the cup. And hearing what your answer to that question about family and where your kids want to travel to and what matters and achievement and accomplishment and impact, those are the things that really matter. And as entrepreneurs, so often we start a business in our 20s or 30s, and we're forced to put every ounce of energy we have into building. And once you do that for 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, it's now pre-programmed. It's in your subconscious to where you have to work. And if you ever slow down, you feel lazy. I see Amber smiling there. You feel lazy. You feel guilty, especially owner founders, because once upon a time, they had to work at a pace when if you didn't work at that pace, you were going backwards. You had to do it. And it's hard for them after 10, 20, 30 years, no matter how much wealth they create, to not still have that same mentality, because it was hardwired in their subconscious. And the goal in the book to try to really cover the concept of ROLE, or ROLE, which is return on life experiences. What do you want out of your wealth? And how can you reposition your wealth in a way that gives you that life experience? And it sounds like you're already doing that, Asif. Like you're already very centered around what really matters and its family and achievement.
Well, I think I was lucky. My prior life, I was the auditor and the consultant and did mergers and acquisitions, all this good stuff. What I found out though when I changed jobs is into what I'm doing today, the work never stops. It's always there. So you have to make time for yourself. You have to figure out, what do I really want and how do I want to accomplish it? So I was lucky about 20 years ago, probably right when we met, I decided, hey, I don't want a laptop. And this was, again, I'm old, so pre-iPhones. I said, no laptop, because I don't want to take the work home with me. I just had a son was born and everything. I said, I want to have a little bit of quality of life and whatnot. And then unfortunately, iPhone came out. And, the rest is history. Can't leave the office at the work anymore. So but it's a conscious effort that has to be made. Just like you say in your book, everything has to be done with intention and done for the right reasons. And those reasons are different for everybody. It's not the same for every one person. So taking that wide approach and really asking the questions of somebody to say, what do you really want? Do you want to give to charity? Do you want to continue working till you drop? What makes you what you are? Right. And I think that's the important thing.
Yeah, it's individual to each person. I'm glad you mentioned that, because some people do look at others and go, well, should I be doing that?
Totally.
And it's really about your journey. You couldn't have said it better. What do you want? And I think that's the hardest question that most people don't answer. And I struggle with it myself, but if I could rip up anyone's planning right now and just say, let's start with one question. What do you want? What does this look like when it's all done? And really dial into that. I bet you we'd have to recreate a lot of the work you already have done, or reposition things kind of like a mosaic, because most people didn't start with, what do you want? They started with, how should I do this? Or what's a good plan? And
that's correct.
Should.
But it's also, what you want today is not what you want 5 years from now.
Indeed.
That's a fact.
Very true.
Man, this live stream has been amazing, Ollie. I mean, do you know how many nuggets? There's like practically a whole other book in here just from all of like the side conversations that we've had, like a little manifesto or some guide that we'll end up creating as a giveaway.
I feel humbled because I have contacts like Asif and others you've met on today's call that I think have incredible wisdom, and it's been through 1,000 conversations with all of them that the book arrived. And I think every conversation I have with any of them, it just further enhances the concepts that I talk about, because it came from those conversations. So
book
I'm
number
humbled.
2. We'll talk about it next week. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll give it a week. It'll be great. It'll be great. Asif, any final comments you'd tell to someone considering reading the book, or any guidance you'd give a business owner that's debating, should I embark on this journey of reading the Business Owner's Dilemma?
Well, I think if you are an entrepreneur and you've started your business, or even if you've been in business for 10, 15 years, it's definitely worthwhile reading. I mean, I've bought several copies to give to my clients and customers. I know that for what I do, we have similar customer base, if you will. Most of my customers are all entrepreneurs, and you can see what they've done or where missing something. And, I plan to give this book to them to say, take a second look at what you're doing and what's going on. So
Thank you,
it's
Asif.
definitely something that's worthwhile for every entrepreneur to take a look at.
Very appreciated.
Well done.
And Asif, for those that are interested in learning more about Wallace Bank, or they're entrepreneurs that go to the typical bank and they're saying, you know what, these bankers don't understand that I may not show money on my tax return, but the business is doing great, or I have unique nuances to my business. Where do they connect with you, or how do they connect with Wallace?
You can simply just go to wallacebank.com, WALLISBANK.com. That's the easiest way. And reach out. There's contact numbers there. We're in Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Los Angeles, Atlanta. Just give us a call. We'll see what we can do.
Awesome.
Congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
Thank you, Asif. Thank you for all your great insight and guidance on the book.
Thanks, Ali. Appreciate it. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Take care.
You have amazing friends.
I'm very blessed.